cooperative learning in the mathematics classroom, the relevance of roles to foster conversions between semiotic registers. From Francesca Ferrara and Giulia Ferrari from the University of Turin. We will have Giulia Ferrari to present this work right now. Okay.
Thank you, Enrique. Thank you, everyone, here or online. So I will speak on behalf of Francesca as well, who's here. She's here too. So if you have questions, please ask her questions. Just joking. But anyway, let's start. Many things have been said already about the project, so I'm just not saying much more than this. But thinking of the title, of course, we were cooperating. So we were doing some kind of cooperation inside the project that's very relevant for our presentation, which we are going to talk about cooperative learning in the mathematics classroom. And especially the cooperation was amongst math educators and linguists. So we, of course, in this presentation brings our perspectives of math educators, as Christina and Fran have done from their perspective of linguists. So what the talk is going to be about, of course, cooperative learning. So we will try to delve into what we have learned about that and the issues that we believe are relevant for our project. And of course, we will be talking about mathematical thinking in a very specific way, as you will see, and connect all these issues to the theme of the project, which is Pluriliteracies. So what about cooperative learning? So you probably already know that it is a methodological approach in education, not just math education, that promotes active learning through structured peers interaction. That is the main issue. And the desired outcomes when one applies these methodologies concern both soft skills and specific concepts of a discipline. In this case, we will be talking about mathematical concepts. And what is relevant, we think, and innovative about these methodologies is the fact that it challenges somehow the traditional teacher-students approach. And since, as we have said, it's based mainly on peers interactions. And literature has shown how this can increase motivation and have positive effect on the groups that participate to this kind of activity. And it's just one issue, of course, is that to prepare the students to future teamwork in their job environment, but not only that. And one issue that will come back many times in this presentation would be the issue that these structured activities is specifically organized in group work, and in each group, well-defined roles are assigned to different students. So this is a way for the teacher to ensure that participation to the group.
You're sharing the whole.
Oh, okay. So maybe we can do that. Is it better? No, it's not. Oops.
No.
I'm not. Okay. Oh, now it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you see what I'm seeing. Okay.
So, sorry for the interruption.
So you will see, but online they will see the. I'm not sure what I should do, but is the cursor somewhere? No, it's here.
Maybe you can work with this. Yes.
Should we exit and retry? Sorry about the technical issues. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's try this way. And so roles, this will be an issue that we will be tackling in this presentation specifically. And as a general issue, it somehow ensures that each participants collaborates in a way that is relevant and equitable, and ensure an equitable distribution of the task inside the group. So of course, somehow these methodologies, this kind of methodology highlight the importance of working together. And for example, Johnson & Johnson, there are two of the main researchers that have been studying these methodologies, said that working together to achieve a common goal produce higher achievement and greater productivity than does working alone. But one issue that we might touch upon is whether it is enough for students to work in groups, as we have said, for it to be called cooperative learning. And of course, the answer is no, because there are many issues that have to be ensured during the activity so that we can actually talk about cooperative learning. And I don't want to kind of delve into all of them. There are these 5 that you can see on the slides, but of course, some of them concern the relationship between the individual students and the group, like acknowledging that one student cannot succeed unless the whole group she's part of succeed, and the issue of promoting each other's learning during the activity, or the fact that cooperative learning is supposed to improve social skills, which are not just, related to concept one has to learn, but also the relationship that one has with the group evaluation and the individual evaluation. So all these issues somehow, we will try to keep track of that during our proposal. But concerning this question, so is it enough for students to work in groups for it to be called cooperative learning? One main issue we believe, and we tried to kind of delve into, was the issue of the distinction between cooperative learning and collaborative learning. And we have found that in the literature, somehow this difference is blurred, and somewhere they are used as synonyms, while in other, cooperative learning seems to be like a specific mode of collaborative interaction. But one point that we believe is relevant for our discussion is that autonomy seems to be like the main kind of criteria for which we can discriminate those two kind of methodologies. Because, for example, it is assumed that students that have already acquired the social skills to be able to carry on unstructured activities can be provided with collaborative activities. So they can organize themselves autonomously and do the activity without having a very strict guidance. While in cooperative learning, because of the issue of roles that we have already mentioned, but also because the intervention made by the teacher is more structured in the case of the materials she proposes and so on, the orchestration of the activity is much more crucial in a way. So this is a way of, for example, to distinguish among these two activities. I'm not aware of time because we have left some minutes, but maybe I need to rush. And so, but just move to the second issue, which it was, if you remember, mathematical thinking, which is one of the other main issue of the project and this presentation. And of course, we cannot talk about mathematical activity in general, but we focus on one specific aspect that is relevant for us, that is the use of register of representation. And one researcher in mathematics education, who is Duval, has stressed the importance of semiotic representation for any mathematical activity. And he said that mathematical processes always involve substituting some semiotic representation for another. And this is something that we do all the time in mathematics, because mathematical activity has different semiotics representation systems that Duval calls registers. And among many of them, we can find the verbal, the numerical, the graphical, the symbolic, and each of them provides specific possibilities for performing mathematical processes. So this is one very important point that we want to raise with this presentation. But then we have two different types of transformation of semiotic representation, because we need these registers, but we need to use them. So we need to transform them in some ways. And one very easy way, one of the two transformations that he highlights is treatment. So for example, when you sum A plus 2A and you get 3A, this is a treatment because you work inside one register and you make transformation inside that specific register of representation. But another way, which is very common and much more crucial in mathematics, is that of conversion. So for example, when you have an equation, you can draw the graph of that particular equation, as you can see in the slides. And this happens all the time and is really at the core of mathematical thought. So how we can kind of manage the relationship with this idea of roles that is specific to cooperative learning and that of register that we have seen that is crucial for mathematical thinking. So the idea we had that we tried to develop from the point of view of the activity that we have developed. And notice that now I'm just talking of the methodology around it, but then Francesca with the next presentation will delve into more specific example. So we thought of having different roles that each student take responsibility for, and at the same time takes responsibility for a specific register that is typical of mathematics. So for example, we invented the numeractor, which is a word that doesn't exist neither in Italian or in English or in Spanish, for what I know. And for example, that role, the students that take on that role is responsible for reasoning and for taking care of numbers, which includes counting processes, operation, finding numerical pattern and relationships. The artist, who is responsible for the visual part, and specifically responsible for the graphs, for the diagrams, and so on. And the reporter was responsible for the verbal register, which is very important in mathematics as well. And is, for example, responsible for writing down the solution that the group has agreed on. And this is done with the help of all the group members. So the idea is that each student has responsibility for treatments, which is one of the two kinds of transformation that we have talked about before in that specific register. So these are the three roles, and the teacher can decide how to assign roles. The students can decide, or the teacher can decide who should have that specific role. But in any case, we believe it's very relevant that students explore all the roles in different kind of activities. And in our idea, the idea of cooperation between students playing different roles happens through the conversion among register. So since these are at the core of mathematical thinking, these roles require the students connect and entangle their reasoning in the different register. And this is very important also because entangling these different registers and roles allows the students to work through the symbolic register, which is very important in mathematics and is very connected to the idea of generalization that our activities try to bring on the table. And we believe that also these issues connect very clearly to the positive interdependence and the face-to-face promotive interaction that we have seen are kind of relevant for cooperative learning. So just a glimpse on the wider picture that we have seen includes also pluriliteracies, because we believe that one key idea that is also relevant for deeper learning and in mathematics education especially is that we should work on argumentation processes, not just procedure. And this is possible through the type of tasks that are set inside the cooperative learning structure. So for example, the open problems, the inquiry processes that we try to foster, and the request like that of explaining your reasoning, which is crucial for acquiring a deeper knowledge on the subject matter. But also, as Francesca will talk about more in a minute, we believe that it's very relevant that in the structure that we envision, different groups are creating within the same activity. So the students experience, for example, base groups where each student, as we have said, has a different role, but also kind of gather in groups that where other people have the same roles in other base groups. So that kind of expertise is shared inside the group with different expertise, but also in the expert groups where each one is kind of tackling the same register. And different levels of interaction, also this is like, again, something, a glimpse on it, thanks to the alternation of groups are possible. And all these connects to the development of social skills, okay? Because in the different kind of interaction we thought of, this is really possible to try to experience different interaction with different people. But also different creative products are created because following the representation register, we can work into the different register and create products that are different from one group to another. And this is something that we are working on because somehow we felt like individual accountability and group processing wasn't really part of the kind of structure that we were working on. So something that we are working on for the final activities to create final and or intermediate questionnaire to allow for that kind of monitoring process to happen within the group. And this is, of course, like very quick overview of what we have done, but I think that makes sense for you. And if you have any question, please, these are more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.